Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1059. We've got a special episode today. We're going to talk Card Dealer Pro 2.0. It's live, and I love it. CollX CEO Ted Mann is going to join us. Alex Lynn from Card Dealer Pro will be on the program as well. So we're going to talk about Card Dealer Pro 2.0. I know some people that will be here today in the chat have been using it. We're gonna take any questions. So we're gonna have some fun today talking Card Dealer Pro 2.0. Before we bring Ted and Alex on, let's just welcome the chat. Dave is with us. Good morning, Dave. He's got a question, so we can touch on Dave's question this morning. Grinding for good. What's up? Happy Hump Day. Get that trash out. It's Wednesday. Hall of Fame card collector. Good morning. Why did they get rid of the spreadsheet view in 2.0? So that's a question that we can ask as well. Value Box Digger, good morning to you. We've got Dan. He's got some new Mark Burleys in the collection, only down to 4. David, what's up? Good morning. Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning. Looking forward to this. Ed is with us. Good morning to you. We've got Donald Davis here. Raphael has a suggestion about eBay store categories. Steel Cards is here. Good morning. Kyle's with us. What's up? He says the Goodwill Palette. Yes, Goodwill Palette was acquired yesterday, and I did go through the first box. There was some good stuff in that first box. Check out the video on my channel. We dug through the first box. There was some great stuff in there. I haven't even looked at the rest of the stuff. It's still in the back of my car. So I'm looking forward to diving in more today with yesterday's Goodwill Palette. Good morning, Neil. Boston Smoke is with us, talking Tatis. He says he's excited, but definitely don't love it. Brian Wolf, good morning. Someone complained we have to start over yet on Card Dealer Pro with templates and all, and I think we can address that as well. Jody, good morning. It's a play day at BPC, Bushnell, Prairie City. Shout out to the Spartans and Dave Arnold. Brian Wolf is excited to get it going. So without further ado, let's bring on Ted Mann, the CollX CEO, and from Card Dealer Pro, Alex Lynn. What's up, guys? Good morning.
Hey, Bo.
Morning.
Thanks for having us.
So
you ever have one of those mornings where you're like, oh my God, what have I just walked into? I'm super psyched. I know we got a bajillion questions. We just launched this yesterday, so we've been seeing them flood in, and we're psyched to answer them all. Try to walk and run through sort of some of the changes that we made. But appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely, I love it, and I did a quick live. I heard some complaints on certain things. People were having some issues yesterday, so I did a live last night just to walk through because I haven't had any issues. There are a couple small things that I mentioned, and I've forwarded on to you guys. But nothing that's really held me back. So I kind of wanted to see, show people, well, here's what I'm seeing. But I know everybody runs things differently. So so we can kind of address some of those things. But I love it. And something that I wanted to pass along to my viewers is a lot of people, well, how come it's taken so long to get this? But you don't want to launch something like this and not be prepared and ready, and then all of a sudden you have it's broken and it's not working. So I'd rather have it delayed a couple months than to just launch something that doesn't work. And I think that's exactly what happened. There was beta testing, so I know people, well, how come it wasn't tested? There's beta test. I tested, everything's worked. So I'm glad that it was launched at the time it did. I love it. I absolutely love it. So
thank you. Well, and to be fair, Bo, I think like in full transparency, like the first time you saw it, it was a change. Like it's a big change.
I think I said the first time, and there were some glitches and this was like what, 2 months ago, a month ago, and I think that was I hate this. I hate everything about this. And, and then the second time I did it, I loved it. And I can't speak enough good things. And I think we're just, as humans, we're impatient. And, especially in today's society, when we have everything, we're dealing with AI. So we want AI to do everything for us. But I think we need to step back and relax and be patient. And things don't grow overnight. And I think that's what we all have to realize, that there, especially when you launch something like this at this scale, like there's going to be some blips. But yeah,
I think it's especially when you're talking about a product like, like this, that people use to run their business, and when you kind of got your rhythm, you got your routine, changing that can be disruptive, right? And it can be tricky. So we spent a lot of time and energy to try to think through making sure that this was really just improving people's workflows, allowing you to do this faster. But at the same time, we're all too aware that like changing anything, even just changing like the color of a button, can sometimes be like upsetting and disruptive. So so we want to, we're here currently, like all hands on deck, to help people on the support and other channels, social media even. We want to be all over it. Would it be helpful, Bo, maybe just to start sort of like, I can talk for a few minutes about why do we do this? Why do we change things?
Absolutely.
And then I was thinking maybe we could have Alex as well, kind of do a walkthrough and do,
Sure.
like, assuming we can do a screen share here, we could just do
be able to do that. Yeah.
Do a little demo and talk through some of the features and functionality, if that's cool. But maybe right off the top, and by the way, if you're following the chat, I'm kind of terrible about reading while I talk, but if there are questions like about any of the things I'm asking about, please go. So we acquired Card Dealer Pro. It was an acquisition of a very early stage product, like a product that had like next to no users, about a year and a half ago. And the basic logic of the acquisition was, as we're trying to build a business and a marketplace for trading cards, we realized like having tooling and software for professional sellers is extremely important. And the original version of Card Dealer Pro that we bought was very much like almost like a proof of concept, right? Like it was still very early. And thanks to people like you and all the other users and subscribers to the software, we made some quick improvements, like things like the title templates and description templates, and tried to iterate on it. But we very quickly reached a kind of a breaking point where we realized like this was not going to scale very well. Like some of the systems that we had, I could run you through all the issues, but I mean, I think they're pretty well known, like that we weren't having, new cards updated and sets updated. We also, the system was relatively unstable, would periodically like drop requests and drop images and kinds of other issues like that. And most importantly, it just wasn't architected in such a way that was going to be able to support like a true inventory management platform. So what Card Dealer Pro is really fundamentally is it's a complete rebuild. We took everything that we learned from CDP1 and how it works, and we didn't like, we really attempted not to kind of throw any of that out. Like everything that was working, we which is basically everything that was working in the old software should work the same way in the new software. Some of the buttons and the knobs and things are in different places. Like I saw somebody asking about Spreadsheet View. It's still there. It's very much still there. But some of them, like some of the places for these settings are different. So we'll walk through that. But we wanted to make this massive update, to really lay the groundwork for what is going to be the next chapter. And you'll see us moving, even though the CDP2 took a long time to come to fruition. I think what you're going to see now is rapid iteration, and quick updates.
That's the part I wanted to, I think that's the really important, like that's the message I would love for the CDP users to really hear, is that in the past, I think one of the challenges and things that I think we really could improve upon and didn't do so well was, be really quick with that feedback that's coming in and be able to implement it live onto the site. And it was because we were dealing with this outdated acquired technology. But now that we've rebuilt our internal, CDP 2.0 with our engineers, like the feedback that's coming in, that's like, we need to do this ASAP. I feel really good because we're going to be able to iterate much quicker than we've ever been able to. So take a little bit of comfort in that. If there are a few things that you want to see happen in CDP, like I know in the past you may have made a suggestion and it's taken up to this point to actually, be implemented, like that's not going to be the cadence going forward.
Bo, case in point, you mentioned when you were testing a day or two before we launched the update, when the images get processed, they're now not retaining the numbering sequence of the images, right? Mm-hmm. The order they were scanned, in other words, and that's annoying. Right. And the reason for that, by the way, is because we now parallel process. So if you see, it's like lightning fast. Everything is, but the byproduct of doing that is like, we're not doing it in a sequential order. We're parallel processing all these images so they can go really quick. But anyways, the punchline is we heard you, we made the fix within 24 hours. So that's live already. And we're going to try to move as quickly as we can on anything that is like a legitimate bug or improvement that we get from the community. We're going to move really quick, and we're going to start to introduce new functionality, new features, some really cool stuff. Everything from like AI to like supporting new marketplaces in the weeks and months to come.
One thing that I was thinking about this morning was what's the number one feedback that you get, and it's probably AI recognition. How come this isn't recognized? How come that isn't recognized? I was trying to think this morning, like I always used like the 70% of the cards are recognized, but that really wasn't a true gauge because wrestling wasn't recognized. I don't know if soccer was, but a lot of these other sports or even non-sports weren't recognized. So I didn't even put those into consideration, when I was, quoting any numbers. So my first test, I was like a kid on Christmas morning because I knew that some of these other sports were going to be recognized by the AI. And it's like, well, let's put it to the test and let's see how accurate. And I was blown away by the accuracy. Sports Illustrated for kids. I don't have to go in and manually type that now. Car Dealer Pro 2.0 recognizes all those cards. Soccer, wrestling, 2017 heritage. And that's kind of one of those other sports that I like to list singles on eBay. And if I had a set, I would be manually entering that. Car Dealer Pro, even the bronze parallels that are, I don't have any next to me, but look very similar to the base set. Now, is it 100% perfect? No, but it's like 95% on a lot of these sets. And that was the one takeaway that I had almost. And for me, that's the most important aspect of using this platform is accuracy, and I can work around it. I'll still list and use your platform, on 1.0 if I did have to manually enter it, because there was still a benefit to using the spreadsheet and everything how I work. But this just makes it 10 times better. And then the speed, time is money. And last night when I did the live tutorial, it went so fast, I thought it was broke.
I have the same. I was doing a demo for the Ricoh guys, the guys who make the scanners, on what was it, like last Monday, and I said, "Oh, I'll show you CDP 2.0," and I legit I had this like panicky moment. I'm like, "Oh crap, something," because it was almost like I hit the button and it was done. I'm not trying to brag or anything here, but I had the same reaction. So if anybody is like. Alex and I used to joke that we would do a demo and you'd have a whole bunch of cards and then you'd be like, okay, now we're gonna go show you something else in the software while it's processing and thinking and so yeah, it is kind of I'm astounded at how fast it got in production. It's it literally is processing thousands of cards in like a minute or two, which is crazy.
Do you want to take some questions?
Yes. I mean, the more questions, the better.
Okay.
I think I know we have a lot of them out there from the group.
Yeah. So so you mentioned spreadsheet view. Hall of Fame card collector Mikey says wants to know why. And I think with a lot of these, before you answer that, I think a lot of what people may not see, it's just in new places. And I think you kind of brought that up. So you said spreadsheet view is still there. So how can one find the spreadsheet view?
Alex, you want to?
Yeah, should I share? It's now
Yeah,
the biggest difference now is it's called the overview tab. So if you look at the top of CDP 2.0, you know, I can present.
yeah, go ahead and share. I mean, I think
All
a lot of this is going to be like kind of show and tell, and we should do a kind of a quick run through, Bo, if that's okay. Just like,
absolutely, yeah.
Like literally, the demo now takes like a minute because it's so quick.
So yeah, if you're in a batch, you can go you'll end up in here by default, but you can go to overview and see the spreadsheet view at any time. So, and it should be really new and like much improved with interacting in here. You know, biggest thing that I heard about was like our old spreadsheet view not acting like a spreadsheet. So what I mean by that is, you know, you say you wanted to change some prices, you know, you can now, you know, copy a price and paste it into an individual section there. So I had to hit approve there, but yeah, so that's kind of, you know, and then it just kind of operates more like a spreadsheet view. So there's a lot of improvements without that. And also like some of these fields now have, you know, proper drop downs. If they are graded, you'll notice like all the graders are in here with the proper abbreviations and stuff like that. So we've made some improvements and it's still there. Yeah, so it's just called overview tab instead of spreadsheet mode.
Perfect. I have a question, and this was brought up. SKU is SKU available within the spreadsheet view or within Card Dealer Pro?
Yeah, totally. So SKU is still available. It's all the way out here on the right. You can set up your SKU by going to account settings and inventory. And you can set a new starting number and it'll go from there. This is my old one that passed over from CDP1. So you can set it up as a new starting number. You can deselect it if you want it to fill in, you know, if you don't want it to fill in with this value and you want to, you know, I know some people will put in like a consigner name or some other kind of field there. So still available. Yeah, this is how you would set it up, and that's where it is on the spreadsheet view.
Okay, perfect. Can you show me on the spreadsheet view where it pops up?
Yeah, so it's all the way on the right, and you can also, one thing to know about CDP2 is that you can change the order of these columns to better suit your workflow. So you can drag columns around, and you could also add columns or take columns away from the spreadsheet view now.
Okay. Will that affect the upload? Like if I export that, will that take those away on the spreadsheet, or is that just an internal?
It's just kind of a visual mechanism there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's just for this view. Like if you say like I don't want to, you know, see the spreadsheet match or like the notes column, like I just want like the key details. So I have a kind of more compact spreadsheet. You can add and subtract columns that you want to display.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's one thing about 2.0. I never worked out of the website. Like once I uploaded everything, I exported to Excel and I worked completely out of the spreadsheet. And now I'm just doing some tweaks on the spreadsheet before I go to actually upload. So instead of spending 5% of my time on the website tweaking, I'm spending 95% of my time in the website tweaking, because I just for my efficiencies and how I like to see things, it's you know, that much, you know, improved for how I work. And I think everybody's going to have unique, you know, everybody wants to set their things differently, and that's why I, you know, practice patience and work through it, and you'll get there.
Well, have you had a chance to play around with the what we call the inspector view yet?
No, I don't think so.
We should, Alex. You want to do a quick walkthrough on how that works? Because I think that's probably like the most significant change. And like, if I'm being completely candid, like when Alex and our you know product lead were talking about this, I didn't totally get it until I started uploading batches of hundreds of cards where I needed to do a little cleanup. And the inspector view is a really really cool way to make that super streamlined. I think it was always kind of a tedious, laborious thing when you needed to like map a card, like do a manual search or fix a card that was incorrectly mapped. I think the inspector view, once you kind of get the hang of it, there's even like, hotkeys that you can sort of use to kind of go through each item. So maybe Alex, give a quick walkthrough on that.
Yeah. So just to create a new batch, just so we can see it like live, you go to, create the new batch, give it a unique name. I really like to preset my condition, especially if I'm dealing with modern cards. And then sometimes I'll even add like a default price, hit create batch, magic scan, front and back. And then I always just click to upload here. That works fine. And it'll bring open your file chooser, select the images, and go. So the inspector mode here, that was done. So much quicker, like on a typical demo in CDP1, I would have been in settings right now, like waiting for this to finish, So it's pretty cool to see that happen. But the concept of the inspector mode, it's really like everything comes into Card Dealer Pro in their batches under a draft state. And it's kind of like an optional status. And what it is how I think of it is it's like marking cards ready to list is like a mental note that you've reviewed them and that you feel like they're accurate. So, you certainly don't need to do this way, but my process is going back line item by line item and just going, okay, like yes, like yes. And, you're able to work through them and just review that like the AI was correct on each one, and marking them ready to list kind of gives you that review. And the other kind of things you can do in here, and I think are really handy, is like sometimes with modern cards, like you'll notice, Topps Flagship, Topps Chrome, several other sets even in that year will use the same image, which makes it really hard on an AI company to determine exactly what card you have. Like there's not a lot of differences from an AI's perspective on an image of like Topps Flagship versus the Topps Flagship, or versus Topps Chrome, right? We try our best, but sometimes the best thing to do is look at this other matches column and just go and select another one. In this case, it got it right. But I would definitely implore you, if you're getting like a close match, but not exact, to check out this blue button, click it, and see if there's any quick suggestions to match to the correct card. And then if you go over to pricing and inventory, we have this pricing research tab, which will bring in the average or the high and the low. And then sometimes it'll bring in the average too, if it has it. But also more importantly, and this is new to CDP 2.0, is it has line item sales information. So it'll bring in like specific line items. And if available, you'll be able to, if they're recent, you'll be able to click on them and go over to eBay. And then we also, at the bottom of this list, we still have the mechanism for clicking recent sales and going to eBay, or also going to active listings. So that's a couple of things there. And then fixing cards in general, like you can also just search right in here for a card. So, you can put in, and, you would be able to find the card you're looking for. So, and, you'll have a visual component of it too, right? So, that's kind of the main benefits here in kind of your workflow, and we'll look for efficiency as well.
Don't forget to also show the subset parallel stuff.
Yeah. I actually, it was in my head, but I realized I was in the wrong batch to really make that sing. So let's look at like a modern card, because it's more fun that way. So like I think this is a huge improvement. So if you're looking at a modern card or cards that are, have subsets and parallels, and, say this was the red prism to 299 and not the base, you can go down to the subset parallel at drop down. And this has always been the case. Like you've been able to search for them. Now they're in alphabetical order. So it's a little bit easier to find them. And the other thing that we added was the numbering sequence that the subset is. And I found this to be like from an accessibility standpoint, it's a great improvement because I'm pretty familiar with Prism basketball myself, but there's a lot of sets that I might not know off the top of my head if, you know, the green checker is to 75 or if it's the green scope is to 99, right? But I know what my card is numbered to. So like that helps me determine, you know, do I have the red or the red power? You know, all right, well, mine's to 299. I'm going to select it. And that'll update. And then the other thing that we added was the subset and parallel now have the hash and the slash and the serial number, which was a big request. Before we would just have SN and the numbering sequence, which isn't really like a common convention.
So I have been, yes, and I have been using it. I just didn't realize it was called Inspector View. So I have been using this. I absolutely love it. And I think now that I realize this is the Inspector View. So because I know I can go in and change things, like if this was the red parallel or whatever, I could go to the database match. How would I, and I know the title would automatically change upon my clicking on, you know, the different one, but what if I wanted to change and add something to the title? How would I go? Where would I go into like edit that title before I go to the spreadsheet?
Yeah. So one way, like here's just there's a couple ways to do that, but one way that I've been doing it, if you go to this title and quickly copy it, you can go to custom title and paste, and then you can type in. So I could be like, you know, like I don't want to call this Prisms red. That's a little weird. Like I just want to say like red.
Oh, you see. Okay.
And then I would hit OK. And then now it's good. So that's one method. You could also go to the spreadsheet view directly and, you know, you could edit it. So those would be.
So just the overview. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Cause I've been working out of the Inspector View. So yeah, I love that so much. And, you know, just clicking it in and that's, you know, I don't have to. So the problem that I ran into doing it my way with Card Dealer Pro 1.0 was I'd export everything and then I'm working out of Excel. So I don't have photos to match. And so I'd have to scroll over. I'd have to copy and paste the link. I'd have to go to my internet, paste in the link to the image and that's a different image, just to make, you know, if it didn't match, and then go in and type it. So it really slows you down. Here, I can just boom, pop it. There it is. Now everything, once I get it to Excel, everything's already matched up and I don't have to go through that. So it saves a ton of time.
It's part of the objective with building this experience was just to make the process of kind of like reviewing your cards and, you know, confirming or fixing them, like make that ultra streamlined, ultra fast. And, you know, once you get the hang of it, like once you sort of get, like, I especially like having like that key command, the command enter. Like, so when you're going through and you're processing like hundreds of cards, I mean, you really do still want to take a quick second just to, you know, go yes. But when it's wrong, you know, you want to have a quick and easy way to fix it. And I think I'm finding myself using the software, picking the parallel, picking the variant, even if I have to do a search, like it's a heck of a lot faster than the old thing. Like our old search was terrible. It was not usable. And I think this new search is it's good and it's actually going to get better. Like we have some tweaks that we're going to make it even.
I don't know if this is something that's in the system already, but I heard somebody say eBay store category. So like if you have a custom eBay store category within your store, is that something that can be added? Is that something that's in there?
It's an omission. And that's on me. Like, so I apologize for that, but we're going to get it added right in. So I know about that one and it's going to get added into the flow of export. The column is still there when you export to eBay. So if it's super important, like you can still open the CSV and drop in that numeric store category number to get the cards in the particular category for your store. And I apologize for that kind of manual suggestion there, but we'll get it added in.
And I think that's just something that, that's something I don't use.
Same. So that's why I missed it. Because a couple of these things, like, it's like for my eBay, I don't use store category. So it's kind of like it was out of sight, out of mind. And even in our testers, like, I guess, like, it's something that comes up every, 10 eBayers or something, whatever the percentage is. So it's like, a couple of things like that we didn't think about enough because they weren't as important to our flow. And I think that's what it's kind of funny, like all of this, there's a million different little configurables in the flow to listing cards on eBay. So that's what makes it a little bit challenging from like a testing standpoint. But, now that we've introduced it to hundreds and 1,000 plus people, we're noticing, a couple of things bubbling up like that. And, they'll be added right back in and you'll be able to do that hopefully within the next like 24, 48 hours or something.
Oh, sweet. This was, and I know I'm pretty sure as we kind of, we talked through this during testing, and I think this was something that's been brought up and maybe you can address it, is templates, the old templates. So like say I uploaded something last week on 1.0, will that transfer over?
So a couple things on that. Title templates and description templates won't pass over. And the reason is because like we added and changed our database and the database fields. So the way that the title templates were built in CDP1, it would have been like a mess to bring them over into 2. So it was just kind of a decision. Totally, I wish in a perfect world it wasn't a mess and we could have brought them over, because I know that people aren't exactly thrilled about having to recreate those. But if you need any help with that or have any questions about creating your title or title or description template, we can definitely help with that. As far as and then the same thing goes for eBay connection templates. Like you want to make sure you have, you'll fill those out again. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was old batches. So definitely one of the most common feedbacks that we're getting is like, hey, my images are showing broken in old batches. We're still doing migration for accounts. Okay. There's millions of images that have happened over the last year and a half. So we're migrating over the old batches and old batch images. So give us 24, 48 hours to finish up that migration. And then if you're still seeing kind of discrepancies in your old data, please reach out to support and we'll work to get you squared away.
Awesome. What's the support email? And I'll get that flashed on the screen. So, and if anybody wants to, if they have questions, maybe they're watching this on replay, they have a question that we don't talk about here live. What's the email or best way
the best way to submit a support ticket is to go in the bottom right and click support and hit leave us a message. That goes right into our Zendesk queue, and we'll get back to you within a few hours during the business day. And then otherwise, if you're just like in Gmail and you don't want to go there, you can go to support@carddealerpro.com and send us an email there.
All right. So
we by the way, for whatever it's worth too, if anybody's seen it, we have a little feedback widget in the new CDP.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that we don't want you to submit there, but it goes sort of to a different place.
Okay.
And it's still another good place because actually everybody on our team sees it. But if it's like a true support issue, I would say, like Alex just said, go to Zendesk. Ideally, like support it through the bottom right is sort of the best way, because that's the thing that we kind of have the most process around, so we can quickly help. So if you have an issue with for whatever reason you can't log in, or your subscription's got an issue or something else like that, that's the ideal place to ask about it. If it's like a feature request, like we want oh, it'd be really great if the CDP2 did this, that, the other thing. That's kind of where the it's called the feedback widget, Alex.
Yeah, feedback widget. You go to the bottom left. Yeah, if you have anything that I guess doesn't require support intervention, but you want to let the dev team know, you you could leave a bug, feedback, or a question here, and it still goes and we'll still receive it. And people have already been doing that at a pretty good rate, but yeah, feel free to leave feedback there, and that goes to myself, Ted, and the greater dev team to consider for improvements.
Here's a question about AI, and this is probably really techie, so I don't know what how well this can be answered. But Raphael says he's got a high resolution camera. When he runs it through the AI, the recognition rate is really low. I don't know if you guys can take that question.
I guess the best thing on that would be to dive into the set. So like our AI is, of course, it's card by card specific. It's not like in general, like it's hard to kind of make a broad statement about it. So if that set was, from, I don't know, Bowman Draft, like it would be hard to, or something like that. It's like hard to understand. I have to get down to the set specifics on that. I don't think that there would be a difference between the high res scan and like, an 8170. So or a high res image in 8170. So I don't think it's that.
Yeah, sorry, I'll talk over you, Alex. Resolution definitely shouldn't matter. I've done this, I've been doing this for a while, like 10 years of computer vision AI companies. So I've seen it in all different flavors. I mean, typically the reason why people get bad matches, the most common reason is just the way the picture is taken, right? So taking, a photograph of obvious stuff, right? Like if you're taking it with a mobile photo or camera and there's like glare or like other, but also if there's like a lot of like environmental stuff around there, right? So you take a picture of a card, middle, and there's a whole bunch of other garbage around it. There are tricks that you can employ that to potentially like handle those kinds of scenarios, like automaticically segmenting out and doing the edge detection on the image and stuff like that. And we've experimented with some of those. They have there are downsides to them too, and it's not like there's not like a foolproof way that it will always work consistently well. But I would say for this specific issue, if you want to hit us up on the support channel and just point us to the batch in question that you were testing on with your email, we can go look at those images and see if the images are the problem or if indeed they are like good, clean scans, nicely cropped, and they're still not matching. We'll do a deeper dive and try to understand why.
That's actually something I noticed running a batch recently. The last couple of days was, scanning, especially if you're using a feed scanner, flatbed scanner, any type of scanner. Sometimes a sky blue parallachrome looks pretty similar to a standard chrome. And I think it was a standard chrome and it was identified as a blue chrome. When I looked at my image, it looked like, just based on the scan and where it hit when it, took that photo, it looked like it was possibly a sky blue or a blue. So I think when I've run some of those through, it's like, it's the image, and that's probably why it misidentified it. Mark has a question about, he says CDP support top notch. Love to hear that. Are you able to edit the title and expand the picture for viewing once loaded after AI? I like the progress and constant movement.
Yes. So let me.
I think we may have addressed. I think that's the question that I had, possibly.
Well, the title and then expanding the picture is a thing that honestly was my biggest complaint when we were about to launch. I was like, I want to make the picture I need to do this with my glasses all the time. Vision's failing. So I want the picture really big so that if in the scenario where I have to manually search for the thing or transcribe any of the fields, I want to basically be able to see the image ultra big. So we are going to have that. It'll be very shortly. Yeah.
We do have something though. So if you're in the inspector view, you can click on the image preview, go to the front and the back, and then use this magnifying glass and go in. We have some improvements coming to this feature as well. And then, you with that up, you could still go through and, edit your details of your card.
Yeah. But the next version of this, which honestly, I thought we might even get it out when we launched it, but it'll probably be next week, maybe. It'll basically be a full screen preview of the image. So it'll be super easy. You won't
Get some sun coming through.
Flipping Sports Guy Paul says, so far I love that every question I have I get answered as I keep playing around. And that's kind of, I've felt a similar way. Like, sometimes I've reached out and I'm like, hey, can you guide me to this? But just by playing around you and eventually you'll find those efficiencies that best suit you. So that's good feedback. He was looking to be able to zoom on the pics to compare and notice. Boom, what Alex just showed us. Awesome. Volume accumulation wants to know, will there ever be a way to turn the AI on and off?
What do you mean? Why would you ever turn it on?
Why would you want to? Yeah, that's my first reaction to that also.
Maybe he can elaborate. Maybe, why, would you want that? I don't know.
I see a follow-up question. Oh wait, no, that's not him. Oh, the quantity question. Oh, the old quantity question. So not yet. This is definitely a thing we're gonna add. Quantity is it's a surprisingly hairy thing when you're talking about marketplaces and inventory management. I know it might not seem complex, but because obviously if you're creating an eBay listing and you put the quantity in, it's like, oh, how easy is that? But if you're actually trying to track each individual item, each individual SKU, trying to keep everything in sync, it actually does get rather hairy. Oh. So there is a good reason why we haven't launched this yet. We don't have this in the CollX app either, our collector app, and it drives people crazy because it's probably like all time maybe one of the most popular requests. Okay. But there's we want to make sure that if we introduce it that for what the future state of what we're building with inventory management, that it will work well. But I think you people know, you can add this field manually to the CSV spreadsheet. So if it's super important to you, just go into the CSV, update the quantity column, put the number in there, and it'll work on eBay.
You alluded to something right there that I wanted to address, because it's something that I didn't really take into consideration until I had a conversation with Alex and one of the other members of your team. And that was the question posed to me was, how would you set up a multiplayer? How would you want AI to create a title template for a multiplayer? And everybody is unique, and doing to the scale that Car Dealer Pro is doing, you can't just have it say, do this, because I may not want that, and the next guy may not want that, and it's complex. Like, there's not a one size fits all in a lot of this, and it was something that I never really took into consideration until having that conversation. Was, oh yeah, that. If you want, I want it to do this, it may be accurate in how I want it, but the next person doesn't do it the same way. And so you can't have a one size fits all, program to suit everybody's needs. We just touched on this about the templates and settings. So we did talk about that. We're quite a bit behind. So some of these I might just be, so Merle has a question about the SKU. Since it's just a number, is there a way to make a more convenient SKU similar to Bo's box tab card number?
We have that with the location, right? So you can set location with.
Okay.
We want to expand upon that in the future and try to get location to be transported into SKU number, so it passes as custom label to eBay. But that's a coming soon type of thought, I think.
Okay.
Oh, in terms of passing it to eBay, yeah.
Let's see. Brian has a question
about this. I'd love to answer this. So this is actually one of the most exciting things. Like when I mentioned I was showing the guys at Rico this. One of the things that we also are launching in conjunction with CDP 2.0 is a brand new native application, initially for the Mac. So it's initially for Mac users, but it will soon be for Windows users as well. So if you've been using CDP a while, you probably know that we had a native application for Windows and Mac called Card Dealer Pro. We made a very, very conscious decision to rethink that. The old application was trying to kind of be a scanning application and kind of like a half-baked version of Card Dealer Pro all in one. Instead, what we're doing now is we have a native application that is just for scanning trading cards. That's the only purpose it serves, as a good way to scan your trading cards and generate a folder with a bunch of images. We decided, like, in this native application, it's crazy for us to try to have it do everything that Card Dealer Pro does. Keep that all up to date and in sync. And we were having a really hard time kind of managing that. So if we can just build a really great native application for the scanning piece of this, and then from there you hop over to the CDP website and upload the images, it'd be a much cleaner way to build this. So we've launched the trading card scanner application. If you go to tradingcardscanner.com, I don't know if I can put that in the chat. It's also on the announcements. There. Hopefully that works. Of course, I probably mistyped. I think I mistyped. Oh, maybe it gets flagged by you, Bo, for being a external link.
Wow.
But anyways, you just go to the website and you'll see it now. It's for Mac users, which is roughly, we believe, around 30% of the Card Dealer Pro user base, and it might even be more. This is a huge solve. Like, for anybody who's more operating on a Windows computer, you've likely used PaperStream Capture. Maybe you've used the Card Dealer Pro Windows app, but PaperStream Capture is really the best option for somebody on a Fujitsu. But there were options for Mac. For Mac users, there was nothing. The native Mac application does not work well for trading cards. The Card Dealer Pro Mac app was kludgy at best. And there really weren't any. And Fujitsu does not make a piece of software for the Mac. So for any Mac users on this or watching this, I think this piece of software is going to be pretty awesome. And it's totally free. You don't need to have a subscription to Card Dealer Pro. We're putting this out in the world, frankly, just because people need it, right? Whether you're using our stuff or if you're using some other software, doesn't matter, right? You'll now have a good way to scan these trading cards, generate the images, and it does all the things that you would expect for like trading cards. Like it's configured with the right settings. It's going to do a black border. It's going to generate nice high-res images and have everything with the right numbering sequence front and back. It works for. Oh, the question was about flatbeds. It works for flatbeds the same way our old software did. So you can scan 4 slabs or 4 cards at a time on a flatbed. It'll marry up, like you can put them down 4 at a time, flip the cards over, scan the backs. It'll marry the fronts and the backs. That's a thing that really there is no other scanning solution that will do it that way for trading cards. So so we have all that stuff baked in there, and as you can tell, I'm kind of psyched about it.
I have a question about an iPhone app. We've got the app for CollX. Will there be an app for Card Dealer Pro?
No. I don't think we're going to make a native application for iPhone for Card Dealer Pro. What we probably will do is have a more mobile optimized version of CDP. Right now, we had to make a conscious decision. Do we want to have this new CDP2 be mobile optimized from the get-go, which would have added just a lot of complexity and time? And so we made the decision, like, no, we'll just do it for desktop size initially, but I do believe that we will have a mobile optimized version relatively soon.
Identification. This has been a big one. TCG, Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. Has that launched with 2.0?
No.
Okay.
So it's all there. Like, so the good news is when we go live with it, it's awesome, because if any of you use the CollX app, it's the same underlying database, the same images, visual search piece, and it works freaking great. Our pricing on Pokemon and Magic is, now I am boasting, top notch. Like, it's super solid. It's frankly, it's better than sports cards because we have so much pricing data on Pokemon and Magic. and it's a smaller subset of cards, which makes that a little bit easier problem to solve. However, listing on eBay is a different animal with Pokemon and Magic. There's different settings and categories. So we are going to launch it very soon, but we need a little more time to kind of get the export flow working correctly. So it's not really the recognition piece that's the problem, or the database or any of that. It's the eBay connection.
JG wants to know the total cost. So what's the subscription cost on Car Dealer Pro?
Yeah, so it starts at $9 a month for 500 uploads. Front and back images don't matter on that, so it's 500 total cards. And then we have plans that go up to $199 a month for 25,000 cards, and 4 or 5 different plans in between that. So what I tell everybody is, you could start at the $9 plan and upgrade, downgrade, cancel anytime. So you don't have to estimate your volume. You can start there, and then when you exceed your monthly amount of uploads, you can upgrade.
And then the equipment is not part of that. So the scanners and all that you have to buy separately.
Equipment's not part of it. Keep in mind, our only requirement is JPEG images. So the scanners you see, other people promoting, us promoting in our videos, they're just a complementary piece of hardware. We definitely do recommend the 8170. I think it's an addition to any card business, but just keep in mind, you can use any JPEG image, and those are just kind of a means to get them really efficiently.
We link to some of the scanners from our website that we recommend. Short version is we recommend the 8170 for auto feed, and we recommend the V600 for flatbed. The Epson V600. You don't have to use those. Like I have a multi-function, what do they call them? MFP, multi-function printer scanner at home, and that works fine too. We have other models of Ricoh, or formerly Fujitsu scanners that work just great, but those tend to be the best. You can get them for I think a decent price through our website. We don't really make any money off scanners, to be honest. We are working with Ricoh on having a better scanner bundle available, maybe through Amazon, for trading cards specifically. So I think, you're familiar with JP Lasky's the guy that makes the stands and all. He's made a bunch of other really slick equipment, like the auto feeder. Is that what he calls it? I call it the hopper, but he calls it like the auto feed 1000.
I think on his website it's the auto feeder. Yeah.
He's been selling a ton of those.
Really? Good.
Yeah. He's getting a lot of orders lately. It's fascinating. Anyways, so again, we don't make any money off JP stuff either, but we've been kind of like just, Ricoh, JP work together to offer like a bundle so that like somebody who's buying one of the Ricoh scanners can also get like the stands to make for card scanning, which I think it makes sense. Like just offer a cheaper bundle
for sure.
They might also, they're working on, I don't know if they'll ever get it to work, but they're working on an insert where you can put slabs through the auto feeds too.
Oh, wow. Andy has a question about shipping columns. He's manually adding shipping columns to the spreadsheet once he exports. He also had to do that with 1.0. Is there some way to avoid that? Looks like he elaborates its columns CD through CH, package dimensions and weight dimensions.
You don't need to do that. That's for sure. Because we have thousands of users not doing that and uploading successfully. So we can dive into the specifics on that in like your specific use cases. I have noticed there's been a couple reports with, I think you might have even been Andy that reported this in your Facebook group, but I saw some reports about eBay shipping business policies and return business policies under shipping profiles and return profiles in CDP. We're looking into that and investigating if there's any changes we need to make to make that better. So I'm not positive if that's what he was alluding to, but just wanted to make that known as well.
So this is a good question. I like this question. Just how does AI work? And I know, Ted, you've got a big background in AI. So how does the process work? Like how, when you have a database of cards, how does the AI recognize, I guess you have to teach the AI what to recognize? Is there a simple way? I don't know if there's a simple way to explain it, but is there?
Yeah. Before I forget, Bo, I was trying to, I keep trying to post, and it's like, it keeps flagging me for trying to put like URLs and other stuff. For anybody who wants to scanner, the stand and the hopper that I was referring to, the website is called Laskis, Laskis innovations.com. I think it's also linked on our webpage, cardealerpro.com, where we have like a scanner page where all those accessories are there. So again, we don't really make any money off that. I just, we think they're great products, and the guy is awesome for the hobby and building cool. He's an industrial engineer or a mechanical engineer that builds cool stuff for cards. So how does AI image match? So there are a bunch of different techniques in the world of computer vision, visual search, that you can use. We've tested a ton over the last few years. My background is I've run, this is my fourth computer vision visual search company in all different use cases. My first was image recognition of coupons, and then visual search for products, a company called Slice. And then after that, doing spare part identification, like identifying like screws and bolts and sprockets, for industrial maintenance. And now, of course, cards. So the main technique that we use is we basically, essentially, the simplest way to think about it is like almost like image fingerprinting, right? So we take every reference image of a card that we have, and we basically create a fingerprint of it. It's just a series of numbers. That's the embedding, right? And then we put that into a database, vector store, where we then compare the image coming in, from you uploading it to Card Dealer Pro, to all of the images in that database, and find the one with basically the shortest distance. But we also round up all the ones in the vicinity and return those as well. And so then we show you the one that is the most visually similar first, and then we show you all of the other candidate matches. That's where, that we were going through the inspector view, where you can pick the variants. We show those there, right? Because sometimes you'll have a bunch of, parallels or other versions of a card that look almost identical. And so that's how that works. I could go on all day, Bo. I don't want to chew up the rest of the talking, geeking out about this stuff. But there's a bunch of other techniques. People always ask about, like, do you look at the text on the card? Do you look at, like, do you have a classifier model that looks at like the parallel type? And we have tried all these things and tested and, iterated. The short version, the very shortest version I can give you is what we're working with now works the best for the scale that we're operating at. For a scale of like a database of roughly 20 million unique canonical cards and counting. By the way, we'll keep adding new categories like in the weeks and months to come. At this scale, to have something that works quickly enough, I think that the techniques that we're using work really well. There are still other techniques, like OCR is not completely out of the question. Indeed, for like detecting graded card labels, we do OCR on the graded card label, in addition to barcode scanning and other stuff. But for the image matching alone, I think it's the best thing for identifying raw cards.
Say if Bowman is released this week, with 2.0 and now the technology that you have, like on average, I know it's going to be each release is probably going to be different, but is there like an average of how fast that'll get into the database?
Pretty fast, like ideally within a couple days, if the checklist is published and we have some verification on that.
Okay.
So if you go into Card Dealer Pro, there's a dashboard view right now that's sort of like the homepage effectively, and in there you'll see a like a release notes or change. I think it's called the change log. In the change log, you can actually open up those posts and you can see the latest releases that have been added. So that's one way to look at it. Alternative way, it's the same database. So just I know it's a different. It's if you go to CollX.app and you go to recently added sets, you can also see the recently added sets there.
We'll have to add that as a duplicate thing to carddealerpro.com. We just haven't haven't gotten to it yet. But we'll have to add that.
I mean, right now I think we're doing it. I think Kyle's updating it manually in the release notes, but I think honestly, like what I want, Bo, is I want a way. I don't want to have to like scroll through a bunch of pages because there's so many sets. Like there's thousands and thousands of sets that get added like constantly. I want to just be able to kind of quickly type in, like have like a basic like a mini search of just sets and just see, is my set there? Yes or no? Because that's to me what would be the most useful. But I don't know.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I'm sure we can spin that up pretty quick.
Raphael appreciates Car Dealer Pro standing in front of the firing squad to answer the questions. Yes, thanks so much. I mean, thanks so much for coming on and answering some of these questions. I think with any change, there's going to be positives, there's going to be negatives. So you get to address them all. So
we need to sign you to a 10-year, $700 million contract.
I'll have.
Would you mind deferring 95% of it to the end?
What's the deferment on that? Joey's got a question on updating quantity. The whole column shows it's 255.
That's bizarre.
So if you go in for Joey, I saw this one. If you go into your spreadsheet, you would update the individual line item of the quantity, that you wanted to update on the specific card. So they all should show one in that field under each card. And then I think it might just be a coincidence, to be honest, with the price showing under shipping service costs. Like maybe you were listing cards at the same thing as the cost there. I haven't seen that as a report or a bug from any other user. But if you create a sport ticket, if you want to chat offline about that, I could look into your account specifically and make sure you're good to go.
A couple of these questions, I think, Dan, US Sports Cards, we did talk about the support. I've got it scrolling at the bottom, support@carddealerpro.com, email or the button in the right corner. Porter wants to know about the red risers, laskusinnovations.com. I don't think they have any. I don't think he has any red in stock, but it's just black right now. I think we may have touched on this title template. Is there a way to change the title template after creating the batch?
Yes.
Yeah, let me show that real quick.
That's a great thing. Any of these, this is like one of those settings that honestly I feel like is not that obvious. At least I didn't pick up on it initially, so it's good to call these things out.
So if you're in a batch, you can click the batch name at the top here, and it'll bring down this whole banner, which I think is kind of I think people are having trouble even knowing that is a possibility or that would be a drop down. But if you go into batch settings, you could change your title template to one of the other ones or whatever you would like. So that's a new thing. Like in previous, in CDP1, if you had uploaded, a batch and, you had a wrong title template or you didn't create one to start and you needed to, like you haven't been able to. So this is how you would change the title or description template of an individual batch.
Alex, you want to show as well how you can do like the bulk fill or like bulk regenerate title description?
Yeah. So I think this is a good one. Like, you can bulk fill status here. So, you could change them back to draft or just anything, you could bulk fill price and say, I want these to be $10. And I think this is a lot quicker than our fill column technique of the last software. So that would be, you can click on any of the tops in the overview mode, aka spreadsheet mode. You can click on any of the tops of the columns and bulk fill.
And title is another one, like just like we were showing, you could change the setting, but you could also update the title here as well.
Yeah, click in there and you could be like, vintage.
Okay, cool. Dan's got a question about the PayPal information.
You don't. This is a constant source of debate internally. Is like I don't personally think we need to even ask you this. So it's optional. The PayPal settings are totally optional.
Okay.
In the export flow.
There you go. Is there a way to get scans back when you upload a batch if the scans are unsuccessful?
That would be done through support. It should be the fact that, like, one thing that should be the case is if we don't match a card, it shouldn't count against your scan balance in 2.0.
Right.
So that should happen automatically now.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was a change that we've made. But like, any one-offs like that you can always just create a support message and we'll take care of you.
Very cool. Mark Hoyle's got a question. How far back does the scan, if I upload an 1887 old Judge, is it going to be in the library?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's
where I wish
to our knowledge. I mean, there might be exceptions. Like I think if you go really far back, there may be gaps, but every major set in the history of cards is included in the database.
I see 1887 old Judge in our set.
Yeah.
In our set list.
All right.
We're better at, that's our bread and butter. So if you got some really old cards and you want to upload them at 100% accuracy, like
old
that would be, yeah.
Haas Rodbarden. Old Haas Rodbarden.
Pena Collectibles says the batch he was working on yesterday is completely gone from CDP 2.0. Is there any way to retrieve that?
We're working on the migration, so that may come over in migration. In terms of like minute by minute yesterday, there could potentially be some issues with like if it cut over in the middle of you working on a batch. So I would give us a little bit of time.
The most critical thing, sorry to interrupt, Alex, just understand, totally separate systems, totally separate databases.
Okay.
So anything from CDP1, if it's going to be in CDP2, it has to get migrated. So all your user information, your payment information, obviously we migrated all of that. As we talked about, the template settings did not get migrated because it was just too much of a cluster. Previous batches we have attempted to migrate, but there's a lot, right? There's millions and millions of cards scanned. So that's like a process. And even things that were created like yesterday, if we'll have to kind of like do another resync of like stuff added in like the last 24 hours, I guess. But that's any of that stuff, just send it into support and we can prioritize making sure that it gets resynced. But cool. Going forward, we really just want everybody to be using the new software. If the old stuff is still accessible, so it's not like any of that's like, it's not like we like went and purged the database or anything like that. But we do. It is kind of like a process to migrate.
And so, and I assume it's still there. Like people, you haven't lost. If you had a bunch of scans in 1.0, it's not gone. Like
no,
it's not lost. So
no, definitely not.
Maybe Alex can show us this because this was a question that I had. Updating your return policies and I guess setting up those policies, the eBay policies. Is that something you can you can walk us through? Because I know that was in a slightly different spot than
oops, my bad. I hit a wrong button there, my bad. All right. So if you go into ready. Oh, why is it doing that? All right. There we go. So if you go into eBay here and go through, go to export, go to eBay, you move through the first one. This is where you'll do shipping. And then this is returns is on, this might be the confusion because the returns is on listing, payment and return settings, the fourth step in the review process. Again, like the PayPal stuff, optional. And then here's where you can set your return policy. So you can, enable returns or disable them, and then fill out your information about, time, how you want the refunds to be handled, how you want the shipping costs on the return to be handled, and then you hit continue, and then that's in the export. Of course, you can. I think this is a little different. It's in a different spot and called something different in 1.0. Like you can go to connections and go to eBay view channel settings and then connection settings, and you can create a new eBay template, give it a name, and you can fill out all of this information, including the return options and shipping options, so that you don't have to type them in every time. So,
yeah. Awesome. Here's a good question from Rob. He wants to start using CDP. Is there a tutorial on how to use it? And before I let you take that, I'm going to suggest setting up in a calendar appointment. And I assume that's still a thing. That's how I got started using Car Dealer Pro. I had a call with Ted. I used it a couple times when I very first started last summer, and I had like 3 questions. I set up that call. I clicked. I set up. Boom. We did a Zoom call for 15, 20 minutes. I think all 3 of my questions that I had after playing around with it were answered on that call. Is that something that there's still a tutorial type deal where they can set it up on the website?
So 2 options there. If you're a brand new customer, you can go to cardealerpro.com and click schedule a demo. There's a link on our website, and you'll go to my calendar and be able to schedule a demo there. And then if you're a current customer, we've sent you an email kind of advertising a 2.0 launch webinar for current customers. And we'll be doing those every day this week and 2 on Friday. So you'll have that in your email, in the launch email to click over and schedule. So for current customers, there's an email and a link separate. And then for new people, you can go to the website and click schedule a demo.
Awesome. Shane's got a good question. So if you run through these, do you have to scan them again? And I think what he means is if he's already got scans saved to his computer, can he just go in and without scanning through the scanner a second time or whatever?
That's one of the best parts about Car Dealer Pro is that, we're a web-based solution that relies on uploading images, not necessarily like a scanner app that you scan it and then that goes into the system and that's the only way. So absolutely, you go to cardealerpro.com and you'll be able to upload all of those images that are already saved to your computer.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're an hour 12. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but Alex and Ted, thanks so much for jumping on here and 2.0. I absolutely love it. Been using it now and testing for a few days, and now after it's launched, and it's freaking awesome. So I love it. Thank you for taking these questions. Is there anything you guys want to add? Anything that maybe hasn't been touched upon yet before we go?
Well, like we were talking about at the start of the call, thank you, Bo, for having us on. And most importantly, just thank you for sort of being patient with it, right? And kind of giving it a chance. Cause I have the same reaction every time, a software I know and love makes a big UI, seeming, user interface, user experience change. It's frustrating. It's like, oh my God, why'd you mess with the thing? But I hope everybody will give it a chance and try the new flow and hopefully see what I think you've seen, Bo, and what I've certainly seen, Alex, and all the other beta testers, is it's a lot faster. And it's going to make life a lot easier. And also exciting, kind of pave the way for us to do a lot more, not just new sports categories, but new TCG categories and inventory management and multi-channel selling, all of the stuff that we've been talking about. We're really psyched about. So, thank you again for having us on, and be sure to, if you want to get a more in-depth kind of walkthrough, sign up that link Alex mentioned, or check out YouTube. Alex actually created a whole series of YouTube videos all about CDP 2.0 that are all now live on our Car Dealer Pro YouTube, which are pretty great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
if there's anybody I really appreciate it, Bo. Thanks for having us on, and thanks for doing the live demo last night and just being a great partner with us. We really appreciate it. And I saw a few people kind of mentioning in the chat maybe they're having a couple fringe issues. Please directly reach out to support and we'll get you squared away. Our full focus is getting everybody onboarded and helping you have a smooth and good process into 2.0. So don't feel like you're on an island or that you won't be able to get help. Please reach out directly. And if you've already submitted a ticket, we'll be getting back to you this morning.
Awesome. Guys, thanks so much for jumping on. Check it out, cardealerpro.com 2.0. Absolutely love it. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. Be live back again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.